This video is brought to you by my new album entitled Dougal's Treats. It's full of hummable melodies, bluesy riffs and the occasional bit of virtuoso flashy stuff as well. If you enjoy bluesy rock guitar with memorable tunes and solos that wail like a banshee, then check out the links in the description. The premium version includes all of the tabs for each tune, videos and jam tracks as well. Thanks for listening, now on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. That was me having a little bit of a jam, I was jamming and recording it in a DAW, a digital audio workstation or DAW, and that's what we've been talking about in these Wednesday videos for the past few weeks. Basically a beginner's guide, a basics guide to home recording. I don't claim to be any kind of expert, but I do know enough to get results that please me, and I just thought I'd share my methodology with you in this series of videos. Today is the last in the series where we're basically going to be running through a summary of what we've covered, basically condensed somewhat, but just kind of wrapping it all up and tying a bow on it. So let's start by looking at the software that you're going to need. You're going to need a DAW, a DAW. This is the one that I use. It's called Reaper. It's basically free for 60 days. You get a 60-day evaluation period, and then you get a license, which let's just have a look and see how much that costs. $60 discounted license. The discounted license is for personal use and for small businesses, which is the one that covers me. You're going to need, if you're going to be creating tracks, you're going to need some drums, and this is the drum software that I use. It's a VST plugin, and it's called MT Power Drum Kit 2. You could see the little clip of it on screen in that screen recording I did of it in that jam earlier. And then you're going to need some audio drivers for a piece of kit we're going to talk about in a moment. Hello, what's happened here? Let's get rid of this. Can we get rid of this ad? There we go. These audio drivers, ASIO for all, ASIO for all. ASIO stands for Audio System Input Output, and these drivers here are exactly what you need to hook up the piece of kit that we're going to talk about next. Let me get rid of all of that and come back to you. There we go. The piece of kit, which is essentially, you can't get around it, is an audio interface. I use a Behringer UMC 22. You can pick these up, I think, for a shade under 50 quid on Amazon. You know, I've tried the more expensive Focusrite and other alternatives, and the Behringer just does everything that I need. I couldn't get away with Focusrite. It was a very glitchy experience, but I won't go into that here. So yeah, Behringer UMC Euphoria UMC22. You can find them on Amazon, and I'll put links to all of the software that you need down there. So what you do is you let's have a look at the connections that you need to make. Here it is, hooking everything up. You can see the instrument there, in this case a guitar, is hooked up to the interface. That's the thing in the middle at the bottom there. That's the exact one I'm using, the Behringer UMC22, and when you hook that up, you need to install those ASIO for all drivers, which basically then tell your computer that the Behringer unit is now the sound card. That's what you're using. Hook that up to the PC with a USB cable, and then a stereo audio cable comes out the back of the Behringer unit into some powered monitor speakers, and those are the very ones that I use there, PreSonus Eris 3.5s. So that's all of the hardware and software you need. Let's have a little bit of a look at how you go about configuring the Reaper DAW to record with. Okay, the first thing you need to do is basically have a little bit of a dig in your audio settings in Reaper. We do that by going up to the top right hand side of the screen, clicking here, and that opens the audio options. Just take a look at these settings here. Audio system, ASIO, ASIO for all, version 2 is the driver that we're using for the interface, and then just basically these settings as they are down here should be everything you need to do, apart from setting the configuration. Basically, this little slider is an important part of the equation. If we increase the buffer size like this means that you are less likely to get glitchy, you know, kind of stuttery playback when you're playing music. The downside is that you're going to get a lot of latency doing it that way. Basically, you play a note and then you hear it a noticeable amount of time later. There's a lag between you playing something and hearing it. So to counter that, we come back this way, but you go too far this way and you get that sort of glitchy, stuttery playback. So it's just finding that sweet spot, which for me on this machine is setting that to 256. And what that then means is, if I just come out of that and OK all of that, is that I have 11 milliseconds of latency, which basically means that's negligible. You don't notice that. 11 milliseconds of playing a note and then hearing it, that's what's happening, but you don't, it's not perceivable. So that is what you need to do, basically find that sweet spot there. Then you'll need to insert a track in Reaper. The simplest way to do that is just to double click in this region here. We've now got a track that we can insert or that we can play music on, you know, record to basically. If you want to add effects to that track, maybe it's a guitar track or something, you go into the effects tab here, and then whatever effects you've got installed on your system will show up here. You know, maybe a little bit of delay. So we go into delay, and you've got various presets here: 5-tap ping pong, small room, large room. So it's kind of simulating a little bit of reverb, I guess. You can, let's just set it to a ping pong reverb. Maybe you want or ping pong delay rather, maybe you want some reverb on there, so we can just go into the effects tab again, add, and then use one of the native plugins that comes in Reaper and add some reverb to it like that. There's now reverb on that track. Maybe you're wanting to insert a MIDI instrument like drums. Probably that's the one that you can't do without. So once again, right click in this area here, and you'll get insert virtual instrument on new track, and there's all of the virtual instruments that I've got here, and the one I use is MT Power Drum Kit for the drums. In terms of installing the drum kit, all you got to do is download it and then just open a browser window and go to local disk, and then I think it's here in program files, VST plugins. You can see that that's where when you download these things, that's the folder that you put them in, and Reaper automatically just kind of goes to that folder. And there's the MT Power Drum Kit. Reaper automatically goes to that folder and sniffs around and sees what instruments you've got in there, and then you can install them in the way demonstrated here. So that's how to set up Reaper in terms of the audio settings, and how to input tracks, and how to add effects, and how to add virtual instruments. So that's that. Next thing you need to do is, as we can see in this diagram here, you need to plug your instrument into the interface, and before you record, you need to set the level, the input level, so you're going to get a good strong signal, but not too strong that it's actually clipping and distorting. And I explained this back in the first installment of these videos, so let's rewind to that, and here's the clip from that video. We need to get the levels set right, and that lead that you can see going into that little box of tricks there, that, as you know, is my interface, and the other end of that lead is plugged into my bass, and we need to adjust this knob here to the optimum level. And basically, how do we find the optimum level? Well, you'll see there's two little lights just to the left of that knob. The bottom one is signal and the top one is clip. We want the signal light lighting up, but we don't want the clip light lighting up. So you can see the signal lights just flickering there. That's pretty, a low volume. So experience teaches me that I need to turn that knob to about there, to about, I don't know, 2 o'clock on the dial, and you can see that's lighting up nicely there. If I take it too far, then you'll notice that the red light, the clipping light, starts flashing. I don't know how well that's coming across, but the red light, yeah, you saw it pulse then. That's going to lead to a clipped signal, so we come back it off to about there, and there I'm getting the nice green light on, a nice healthy green light, which tells me that the level is set to pretty much an optimum value. So you've got everything set up, everything's configured, you've got tracks set up, you've recorded, and you've added effects that you want to add to whatever tracks you've recorded. It's now time to think about how you want the finished product to sound, and that means doing a mix. And well, again, I've covered this in a previous video. All of these videos are linked in the description, by the way, so go and check them out for more details on all of this. But here's a little bit of guidance on the mixing process. Okay, here's the Reaper project that is that jam that we heard earlier on, and there's the drums, there's the bass, acoustic guitar part, MIDI organ part there, clean rhythm guitar part, some crunchy power chords. So you'll notice all of this stuff is either double tracked, or it's got sort of a double tracking effect on it, evidenced by the fact that there's 2 tracks of everything, including the lead guitar part here. I covered all of that in an earlier video. What I want to talk about now is just the mixing process, basically, and these things here, these envelopes, or envelopes depending on your pronunciation, become an important part of that. What you do is you click on this little tab here, which might say, if we just do that, you'll see it says trim there, but if we set this to the fact where Reaper is actually going to be reading what those envelopes are doing, it will say read. Anyway, this is basically the volume envelope. If we click on here, you can see that there's a number of parameters we can control via different envelopes, and I've got volume selected here, and this controls the volume. Basically, I can move that down, I can move it up. I can put little dog legs in it there, so just by inserting, if I go here and say insert point and then insert another point there like that, then I've got a little section there that I can move around like this to vary the volume of whatever is on that track, which in this case, as you can see here, is the guitar solo. And this is much easier than just sitting with your mouse cursor poised over a fader in the mix down view like this. You know, you can, because you've only got one mouse pointer and you might want to adjust several things simultaneously. Well, you just set up envelopes on each of the tracks to do that. And as I say, you can move them up and down depending upon where you want the volume or the panning or the level of effects or whatever you've set up as the you know, on that envelope there. As you can see, we've got volume, pan, width, volume, pre-effects, pan, pre-effects, etc, etc. Then the all of the delay parameters here, wet, dry, volume, etc, etc. You can set up pretty much an envelope to control anything you want, and you just, as I say, just do it by moving it up and down like this. And that is like an essential part for me of doing the mix. What you do is you go to the mixing desk view here and you set everything so it's roughly about right. It's a little bit like looking at the bridge saddles on a guitar. You can tell that sort of pattern that they form when they're pretty close to being intonated, and then you just tweak it from there. And the tweaking it from there bit comes from this. You do need that experience of, you know, having done a few mixes to know where your drums and bass and everything needs to be roughly set in here, but then you fine tune it with the envelopes. So there we go. That's how I do the mixing. And there you have it. That is just a condensed little summary of the topics we've covered in this series of videos. Don't forget that there is a full tab in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats for the jam that you heard at the start of the video, along with the backing track that I was using as well. That is up on my Patreon page. There's the address. Link is in the description, as I'm sure you know by now. $3 or about £3 a month gets you access to all of these additional resources and goodies that go along with these YouTube videos. So there it is. That's the summary. That's just a potted you know, condensed version of everything we've been talking about over the past few weeks. And new series of videos starting next week on you know, how I stumbled across all of the bits and pieces of music theory that I figured out without even realizing I was figuring out music theory. Not quite sure exactly what kind of shape that series of videos is going to take, but it is the next thing on my list to do. But that's it for today, folks. Hope you've found the video useful and informative, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. And of course, don't forget the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we drink beer and talk about stuff, whatever comes up in the conversation. Basically, it is remarkably unpredictable, but what it is also is a great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.